Hey everybody, my name's Josh. I am your TA. I obviously am not in Davis right now. I'm actually in France. But I thought that I should send you a little message because I am hoping to interact with a lot of you this quarter, and it's a little weird maybe to Skype someone you've never seen before, so I wanted you to see who I am. I also wanted to say a couple things. I also am in the sociology PhD program at Davis, just like Professor Menard. I've been here for, I think this is my 6th year. You start to lose count after a while. I mostly do quantitative sociology, although I'm also a big fan of qualitative. And so one of the reasons I like working with Nathan is that we bring kind of two different perspectives to sociology. And I've found in the past, I think at least, that students have appreciated how we can then shine light on some of the methodological and theoretical challenges of doing sociology research. So I may say too that that's one of the reasons that I really, really like this class. I love this class, and I love working with Nathan. I love working with the students, partly because I like this project so much. I think it gives you a really cool hands-on understanding of like how to do sociological research, why it's interesting, why it empowers you when you want to go out in the world and solve new problems and understand stuff out there. On that, I've been reading your proposals, and most of the feedback I think is going to be mine. Nathan's done some of the feedback as well. We also, throughout the quarter, he and I will talk about a lot of the different projects, and we'll probably work with you on the different projects, but I'm going to give you a lot of feedback on your projects going forward. And I like that because each assignment kind of leads into the next, that if I give you good feedback, it empowers you to make your project better in the future. So I think the proposals are going really well. There's a lot of projects that I think already I'm really excited to see them like expand and grow. If you get some of my feedback and you don't know what to do with it or how to respond to it, or you want more information about how you can make your project better, like, please contact me. You can email me, you can Skype me. Nathan should give you my Skype information. And I love to chat with people about their projects. So I have office hours. Nathan should remind you of what those are as well. It's a little confusing for me because of like the time shift between France and California. So he'll give you the updated thing on that. But also I'm available by appointment. Because of the time shift, it usually has to be either really late or really early. So we could be chatting, say, at like 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., something like that. But often midday is harder. Right, but so super excited about the projects. I have some maybe general thoughts that apply to everyone. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at your feedback a little by this point, but there's some like common pitfalls that people run into again and again, and that's just part of like getting used to doing sociological research. A lot of people, I probably said that you had a good topic, but it was too general and you'll need to like hone in more. It's not bad to have too broad of a topic because often you'll get into something and not really know exactly what you want to look at yet until you start getting into the data and reading about what research has been done. And you're like, oh man, I'm just really interested in this broad thing. And then after you dive into it, you're like, no, it's this one aspect. That's what I really like. So that's fine. That's part of the process. But one of the ways that you can help yourself is by thinking about what method you want to use and what theories will also guide you. So if there's way too many options in front of you and you're like, oh man, I'm interested in this, but there's just so much, I don't know what to do. Think like, am I going to be interviewing people? If I'm going to be interviewing people, what questions specifically am I going to ask them? Try to write down five or 10 questions. Then look at those questions and say, like, what information is that going to get me? So if I'm interested in gender representations on college campuses, and I ask people, like, when was a time when you were doing something and you got, like, gender policed? Like, somebody, gave you an odd look or said something about, like, well, that's not what guys do, or that's not what girls do, or something. that's going to give me stories about people's personal experiences, how they understand them, some like boundary work about how social norms are policed. So that's going in a very different direction than, say, what kinds of symbols specifically are reinforced on college campuses about gender, which maybe then we can talk about like certain types of attire or certain clubs or certain activities that are super gendered, but that might be like a slightly different thing. So thinking about the actual method you're going to do can be really helpful. Conversely, you could think about what theories you might use. Be like, I really like this theory that's like the spotlight effect, or civil inattention. I don't know what theories you guys have covered in this class just yet because I haven't been there for the lectures. But I have been in this course a number of times, so I know all the lectures. I just don't know which ones you've done exactly yet, right? Right, but so civil inattention is that if somebody's having a hard time, the people around them will try not to notice because you don't want to make them feel even more uncomfortable about whatever they're struggling with, right? So if I'm walking down the street with like the fly on my pants open, people might notice, but they'll try not to like flag to me, right? Because they don't want to make a scene out of it. They'll just kind of go. So I may go into whatever my research is and say, I want to see if civil inattention explains what's going on here. So I'm going to go talk to my interviewees, or I'm going to go do my participant observation. And then after I get all my data, I'm going to look at my theory and be like, okay, does civil inattention explain what I'm seeing here? Yes or no? In what ways yes? In what ways no? Right, so that's another way that you can kind of take all of this massive information that's out there and like whittle it down and start to look at just specific things. So those are just two techniques. You don't have to do either of those. Of course, there's the difference between inductive and deductive theory, which hopefully you guys are chatting about as well. So, but I run into students who sometimes are like, I'm so interested in this topic and I don't know how to whittle it down, and I found that that's two ways that you can do that. I also, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm a quantitative guy. I'm actually doing statistical analysis right now on big data sets about the United States that has like 120,000 cases. So if you want to talk about stats and quant and that kind of stuff, I'd love to chat with you about that too. But I think that quant stuff is really difficult for this project, and some of the proposals kind of suggested I want to compare like how often this happens with group A with how often this happens with group B. And I've seen students try to do this in the past, and it often is tricky because to do that you need a lot of cases. Like if I just have 10 trials, 5 from group A and 5 from group B, just having one of those trials be weird because of like a random event that almost never happens, that'll really throw off your data. Whereas if you had 500 trials of group A and 500 trials of group B, then you can start to get some pretty reliable stuff. We obviously don't expect you to do a ton of trials because it's really short quarter. So I often try to steer people away from frequency stuff, just because it's really hard. Like maybe if you got somewhere up around like 50 trials, you could start to make some like fun comparisons between groups that has some reliability. But that's a lot of work on you, and so it's more interesting, I think, to just go into your study and say, look, I'm not doing a ton of trials. I'm not trying to argue that this is super generalizable to everything. Instead, I'm looking at just a few specific cases, and I'm going to describe those to you in a really rich way that helps you understand what's going on in these cases. Not in all cases, in all places, and all times, but just what's happening here. So I think that kind of approach is much more powerful for this course and these projects. So you might have run into that if you saw some stuff about quantitative stuff. Almost any project that you would do quantitatively, you can also do qualitatively, though. So I would say that's pretty much the general comments that I have. Again, I really hope that you all will talk with me. I love these projects. I love working with people. I love seeing them change over time. And we've had some projects that students have like taken on from here and presented at conferences and things. And It also gives you like a pretty cool thing on your resume if you want to try to go to grad school or apply to jobs. That can be helpful too. So I hope you get excited about the projects. Nathan and I get excited about them. We want to help you. I am here to help you do that. I wish I could be there in person, but I will be here in the ways that I can.